Okay, so I hope this works now. The last two times I tried making this video, my computer was acting all weird, so hopefully it works. So this video is going to be going over the script that we went over in the beginning of class today, which was called GME. So basically we're going to go over how to use the movmean function in MATLAB. So first off, I have two different folders here. I have my code folder and I have my data folder. I'm doing this just to kind of stay neat. So if I go into my folder here, on this line here to import the data, before in class I said that you need to have your data in the same folder as your script. And that's a good rule of thumb to live by, but that's not necessarily required. So I have my data stored in a different folder than I have my script. So basically, to explain this, let's go here to here. So I'm currently in this folder here. This is my script folder, so right here. And in this root table line of code, I have these two dots and then a /. So these two dots basically means to go back one directory. So we're going back in this directory here. And then I'm telling MATLAB to go into my data folder, which is right here. And then I'm saying to import GME.csv. So doing this, I'm just kind of staying neater, so I kind of like that. Anyways, so that's why I'm doing that. And then preserve variable names in true over here. We did that because we had a warning if we didn't have all of this in our code here. Okay, so we're putting this in there so we can avoid that warning where basically MATLAB is modifying the column names that we have on import so it can actually be imported inside of MATLAB. Some spreadsheets have this issue, some don't. I'm not really sure why. So anyways, if we run this right now, and we'll open up our table in our workspace. So there we go. Here's our table. And you see currently column number 2 is called GME : United States. So that's kind of a weird column name, so I'm going to change that. So we're going to go to this line of code here, change variable names, and we're going to access the properties for our table. So first off, to kind of show you what I mean here, let's do t.properties, and this will access all of the properties for our table. So you see one of the properties that we have is called variable names, and you can see the variable name for the first column here and the variable name for the second column right here. So we're going to modify the one for the second column. So I'm going to do t.properties, and then we're going to do .variable names. And I want to modify the second one, so I'm going to put 2. And then I'll set this equal to interest. And now if you look over here, this variable name is going to change to interest once I run my code. That's exactly what it does. Alright, next thing that we're going to do is specify the rolling average that we want to use. So we're going to specify this now as a variable because we might want to change this later on. And if we are referencing whatever rolling average we want to use multiple times throughout the code, it's easier to just change one line of code instead of multiple. So we're going to do that right here. So I'll call this mov for movmean, which is again a rolling average. And I'll set this equal to 7. So we're going to have a rolling average of 7 days. Alright, so now we're down onto the data processing portion of our script. Oh, okay, give me a sec here. What is this doing? There we go. So this is just the script that we're going to make in this window here. Okay, so now we're actually going to apply movmean. So we're going to get our rolling average here. And we're going to apply this on this column here. So let's we're gonna append this to our table. So we're basically going to create a new column here in column 3. So let's call this interest mov. And to append it to our table, we're going to do t dot interest mov equals movmean. That's our function that we're using. T dot interest. I want to apply this to this second column here. And then our second argument is going to be the rolling average that we want to use, which in this case is mov, which is 7 days. Alright, so we run it, and then here we go. Here is our rolling average that we just created. Again, if you want to get more info on what a rolling average actually is, you can type in the command window doc, and then movmean. And then press enter, and then you'll get this documentation page that pops up. Okay, so we got that. Currently, if we plot our code, so let's do plot, and then we'll do t.day. That's going to be on the x-axis, and then we're going to do interest. So this will be our day, we'll say day by day. And then let's do hold on, plot, t.day, comma, t.interest, interest mov, hold off, and this should also be t.interest, rolling average. Okay, so let's also put in a line width of 1.5. Okay, you don't have to do that. Now let's run this and we'll look at what our plot looks like right now. Alright, so this is what our plot currently looks like. It looks kind of crappy, to be honest. So in blue, this is our day-to-day plot, and then in red is our rolling average plot. And you can see that our x limits aren't constrained. So basically, I shouldn't have any white space here, and I shouldn't have any white space over here on the plot. So we're gonna basically adjust our plot to fix that. So before we do that, let's add in our legend here. So the first one is our day-to-day plot. So let's say day by day. And then the second curve is going to be the rolling average plot. For now, I'll just put this, and we're going to change this later on to reflect the amount of days that we have for the rolling average. So let's say rolling average for now. Let's run this, and this is what our plot looks like now. One more thing that we have to do, and this is going to be the emphasis of this video, is changing the x limit here so we don't have space in the beginning and space at the end. So let's do x limit, and for now, let's just put the minimum day that we have, which is January 4th. Let's actually put January 21st. Okay, because that's the first column that we have, or first row that we have for our rolling average data. So let's do that. So this is going to be the 18th row. So what I could do is t.day and 18. That stands for this row right here. And then let's do the last date that we have, which is April 1st. There we go. So for that, all I have to do is max of t.day. Let's run this. Hey, that looks nice, right? It looks pretty good. It's nice and constrained. It's like we want. Also, let's go in the command window here just to show you what we did with the x limit. So I'll do t.day of 18. And you see that's January 21st, which is what we have right here. And then if we do max of t.day, that's April 4th, or sorry, April 1st, and that's what we have right here. So this looks good, but there's an issue where if I change the rolling average that we have, it's also going to affect our x limit here, because it's going to change the values that we have in this column here. Basically, that it's going to change because of how this rolling average is calculated. Let's tuck this back up here. So if I change our rolling average from currently 7 days. Let's change it to 3 days now. Take a look at our plot here, okay? So I'm going to run this. And okay, so this is fine actually right now. Let's change it to something more drastic. Let's do 10 days. Okay, now you see that this is not as good. So we have our X limit. Basically, I want to constrain this plot to basically start when there's the first value for our rolling average plot. So basically, I want it to start right here on the date of January 21st or 23rd. So basically, our X limit wasn't updated because we had a static argument for the X limit. We specifically told MATLAB to have the beginning X limit on t.day of 18, so January 21st, when how we have our rolling average now, we want it to be on January 23rd. So that would be 20 right here. So we need to modify our code to basically do this for us on the fly. So I'm going to comment out that X limit line for now. And what I'll do here is go up to this line for custom starting date for xlim. Okay, so let's, it's already there. So basically what I'll do is, we're going to get the index for when we have our first value for this rolling average column. So, as we just saw, when I changed this to a rolling average of 10 days, the first value that we have here is 11.4, and that occurs on January 23rd, and that allowed us to have that our plot constrained like we would want. And then if we use the rolling average of 7 days, our first value here is now going to change from the 23rd. Oops, let me go over here. So it's going to change from the 23rd to the 21st. So now there's too much here that's cut off. So, we would have to go here manually and change this to 18. Okay, but again, we want to do this on the fly. We want our code to handle this for us. So to do this, basically, I want to have MATLAB find the index when we have the first value that's not a number. So we need to tell MATLAB, okay, find the row when there's a number for the very first time that is either equal to 0 or greater than 0. Alright, so to do that, I'm going to call this C start end. So for basically our custom starting date, and we're going to say what is that index or what is that row. And then we're going to put find, and we're going to say t dot interest mov greater than or equal to 0, and then comma 1. Okay. Let's run this for now, and then let's I'm going to type in the command window c start ind, and what I should get right now is 18. It should be this row right here. Let's see if that's correct. And there it is, 18. And basically it's 18 because that's the first row when we have something that is, it's not a number. It's the first time when we have a number that's either equal or greater than 0. And if we change our rolling average again to 10, now what we should see for C start end is a value of, 21 or 20? Yeah, okay, 20, the 23rd. Right, and again, let's go over this code again. So we're saying we want to find the row when t.interest mov is greater than or equal to 0. And this last argument here, 1, that means give me that first index, or give me that first row. So I don't want to see all of these rows. I just want the very first one. So that's why we have that 1 over here. Cool, so now let's go to our X limit and let's implement this for the X limit. So I'm going to do t.day, and we're going to use array addressing with that index that we just found. So we're going to do c start ind. That's our first X limit, and then our second one is still going to be max of t.day. So if I run this code now, you should see our plot move over our X limit move over, so our plot is going to start right here on January 23rd. Okay, looks good. Let's check it. That's January 23rd. Looks good. And now let's change our rolling average to other days, just to make sure that our code is working. So if I do 7, looks good again. And this should be, what was it, the 20th? 21st. 21st, yep. So there we go. That's our very first, this is our first row when we have a value that's equal or greater than 0. Let's change our rolling average to 14 days, so 2 weeks. We do that, and that still looks good. Let's make sure that this graph is actually starting at the very first point for when we have our first data point here. So that says January 25th. January 25th is right here. That's the first row that we have when it's equal to or greater than 0. And if I move this, you can see that's when our plot started. Okay, let's see, anything else? We also need to change our legend. I want to change our legend so this right here reflects what kind of rolling average that we're using. So right now we're using 2 weeks for the rolling average. I wanted to say that in the legend. So to do that, we're going to use our function called num to string. So let's go to our legend here. And I'm going to go here and I'll say num to string. And we're going to put in mov, which is this variable here. And if I currently run this, we're going to get an error. So I run it, we get an error. Basically what I have to do is add in brackets here. So I'm going to put in a bracket here, and then a bracket over here. Okay, let's run this now. We still have an issue. It's all on one line here, so that's not what we want. What I actually have to do is put the bracket here. There we go. Now it's good. So basically, this is one line here, and then this is one line here. So that's why we have the brackets here. Have to do one more thing though. Our legend is all smushed together. It says 14 and then rolling. There's no space in between 14 and rolling, so we gotta fix that. Let me put this back up here. So to do that, all we have to do is put in a space right there. Let's run it. There we go. Now it's nice and spaced out. Alright, so that's it. That's the video. Let's change our rolling average one more time. Let's do, I don't know, a 3-day rolling average. That's too much. We'll do 5-day. That's a bit better. Alright, so that's how we do rolling averages in MATLAB, and this is something that you have to do for your project, I think for like 2 graphs or something. So you want to make sure that you know how to use this function called movmean. Alright, so that's it for this video. I'm going to have a few more videos though going over some of the techniques that you need for the project. Alright, so I'll see you then. And goodbye.